Anytime you need an idea, Squib, you just let me know. I'm just brimming with great ideas. So
Yeah, it'll be my next review video.
there we go. And we're live, by the way, just to let people know. So good morning, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to season 5, episode number 241 of Caliber Corner Weekend Edition. It's just me and Squib hanging out right now. I invited a lot of other people, and we'll see if people can make it or not. Today, we're going to talk about 308/762x51 NATO battle rifles and why we think you need one. And now maybe why now might just be the time to get one. They're really not getting any cheaper. Well, some of them are, but a lot of them are not. So if you don't have one, you need to consider picking one up. Before we do that, we're going to let our panelist introduce himself today, and then we'll go ahead and give a shout out on the YouTube side. We're just going to take a look at some of the popular imported 308 battle rifles or new manufacturer battle rifles, 308 rifles that you can buy here in the USA. So before we do that, Squib, why don't you tell us about yourself, man? What kind of hobbies are you into? What kind of interests do you have?
I like
long walks on the beach.
Well, no,
long walks on the range, picking up brass.
Yes, I am. It's like an Easter egg hunt, picking up the brass. No, I'm into all kinds of stuff. The premise of my channel is that gun owners are regular people like everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
We've got families, we've got careers, we've got problems, we've got all. So we're not. You might see your neighbor next door and wonder, do they have guns? Do they have an arsenal in the house? Yes, I do, but I'm just as sane and as rational as anybody else. And just because I have guns and you don't doesn't mean that we can't enjoy a nice glass of wine together or go do some sort of activity like, I don't know, bowling or
lend a cup of sugar when you need one. Don't be
or something like that. Or, garden, I have a garden, you have a garden, just things like that. So, I don't do as many gun videos as maybe I should to be considered a gun channel, but 2 reasons. 1, it's the premise of my channel, and 2, they're just easier to shoot. Honestly, going to the range is a pain for me. I can't stand watching range videos. I can't stand making range videos. So
that's why I make lots of them, Squib.
Yes, I know. Oh, believe me, I'll get up and go to the bathroom, and then I'll come back to hear your final.
There's nothing I enjoy more than knowing that every morning when people are having their morning constitutional, they're just enjoying my content. So
I would walk away from the computer. I'm not bringing you with me.
No, I'm just messing with you. So no, it's cool. No, like I've always said, I do the range test because I'm there shooting anyway. I might as well go and just turn the camera on and just let people know what the experience is like. But I understand completely what you're saying. There's a lot of range videos I don't watch. And honestly, if it isn't a gun that I'm not interested in, I usually don't watch it. But I am interested like in reload videos where people do shoot reloads and optics and things like that. So I understand where you're coming from.
And I leave the range videos for guys like you and Hickok.
Me and Hickok, thank you for putting us on the same pedestal.
Yes.
Me, the bottom feeder YouTuber, and Hickok, the pinnacle of success for a YouTube channel. Geez. All right. Well, anyway, Squib, I'm glad you're here this morning. And look, we guilted Single Shot into joining us this morning. He's
like, oh, all right, fine, I'll join.
He heard me say panelist, and now he wants to make it plural. So that's okay.
Good morning, guys.
Okay.
How are you?
Hey, good morning. Single Shot, how's it going, man? Where are you at now? Here, let me guess. You are in Hartford, Connecticut. Where?
I am home.
Oh, you're home. We should do like a Where's Waldo for Single Shot. We should try to guess where the man is every time he chimes in with us. So he could be in Wyoming. He could be in Iowa. He could be in Florida. We don't know. So how is it at home? Is it going to be a hot day today or what? We're looking at 100 plus degrees here in Nebraska. We're baking like new potatoes here, man.
Yeah, they're talking mid 90s today. So it's definitely
plus you get that East Coast humidity going on. It's going to be swampy, man. It's going to be swampy.
I think I broke my record for a trip this time though, running around the country.
Whoa.
3 weeks, 10,688 miles.
Oh my God. And let's see, I bet you broke a record in diesel expenses too, huh?
Yeah.
What do you see in $5.50 a gallon for diesel? Is that what you guys are paying or what?
Well, yeah, it is coming down though. When I stopped and fueled in New Hampshire, it's $4.45 a gallon. So let's put it.
Well, there's elections coming up this fall. Why wouldn't the gas prices drop, right?
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Got to make some of their sorry behinds look good somehow.
Exactly. We'll be back down to sub $2 a gallon the week before the elections. Well, now that the 4th of July traveling is over, prices can drop off too. So, but anyway, we're not here to debate gas prices. So the question, single shot, is, are you interested in 308 battle rifles? Have you ever had any kind of fascination with them, or have you ever owned one before? AR-10, PTR 91, FAL.
Yeah, I've got an AR-10 right now.
Sweet.
DPMS.
Nice. Oh yeah. You mentioned that before. Yeah, we've had AR-10 discussions in the past, so I think it's going to be a fun little topic. So anyway, let's give a shout out on the YouTube side. We got 22 people watching right now. I think we'll go ahead and fire it up. So we got Kevin Jung out there. He says, "Good morning, guys and gals." Jason Stewart's out there. Tacos and French fries. Watt 75. William Trader. Mike. Tommy Gun. Tony York. Gizzard Gary. Breeze 68025. That sounds like a Nebraska zip code. That very well may be. Squib Lift is out there, and he might be over here. We've got Squib Load out there, definitely over here, and Kingpin. So yeah, we'll kind of get into this discussion a little bit. Squib, do you have any 308 battle rifles right now, or have you ever owned any in the past at all? I guess I've never really asked you.
No. I mean, the closest I've come to a 308 battle rifle is an M60E3, but that's not really a rifle. That's a machine gun. So, yeah.
No, it's a semi-automatic sporting rifle.
Yeah.
There we go. And the good news is that I did find some decent deals for you. Before we kind of take a look at them, we'll talk about some of the different platforms and some of the pros and cons. And I've owned a few of these, so I can kind of chime in with advice on them. So the first one we're going to start off with is just talking about, AR-10s, advantages, disadvantages. We're talking about an AR-10. We're also talking about an LR/SR308 because those guns are built to two different standards. They look like AR-15s, but the differences are going to be the cuts and the lowers, if I'm not mistaken, between the DPMS LR/SR and then the AR-10 standard, which I think the AR-10 is manufactured by a couple companies. And then the LR/SR308 follows its own standard made by other companies. And then you've got companies like Palmetto State Armory that I believe are proprietary. They do their own uppers and lowers with 308 battle rifles that are not compatible with either of the other two standards. Why? I don't know, but that's just what they do. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that they are not compatible. So I kind of wish AWAG was here, but he's not, to kind of ask him that question. So if you want to get into one of those PSA, AR-10s, that's probably one of the most commercially available models. Also, Bear Creek Arsenal's out there too. For magazines, you've got Magpul options also. And if you're familiar with the AR-15, manual of arms, the AR-10 is going to be fairly familiar to you. And the only real difference you're going to notice is going to be obviously the cost, the increase, the ammunition, and the kick. So. Squib, what's kind of your take on the AR-10, the LR/SR308? Do you think that's a wise choice for people if they're interested in getting into battle rifles? How do you feel about it?
I mean, if you're already familiar with the AR-15, then everything's going to be kind of the same manual of arms and stuff. If you've put together some AR-15s, then you could do the same with AR-10s, or at least change stuff out. You don't like this, you can change that out. So that for me is appealing. That, and it seems to be a little bit less expensive than some of the rifles in this caliber that I would kind of look for first. So that's another thing too. I mean, the price is pretty high on some of these compared to smaller calibers, that sort of thing. So yeah, if you're already used to it and you like it, then you can just jump right in.
Yeah, commercial availability. I think prices on them have either stayed about the same. I didn't really see prices during pandemic, gun buying times. I didn't really see AR-10 prices jumping up. They kind of hit this $1,000 threshold where they hover plus or minus, $200, especially from PSA.
I guess what I'm saying is, like, you can get an AR-10 for less money than, say, an M1A or an FAL.
So or even some AR-15s for that matter too. I mean, really. We're talking $700-800. No, I mean some. So, but yeah, that's a good idea too. Plus, you're getting a new manufacturer firearm with a lifetime warranty, and if you buy from the factory built that way, there's a pretty good chance it's going to run. And we'll discuss this in a little bit when you start getting into PTR 91s, Century C308s, FALs, you know, there could be some tuning you have to do to make the gun work well when you're dealing with like a base parts kit. Now, not the DS arms, but a lot of the other imported kits, you know, they've got aftermarket trigger packs in them or different modifications to them. They may not run right out of the box the way you want them to. Now, a little shout out to PSA. Bois did say that PSA is cutting their lowers to accept aftermarket BCGs according to their website. So they might be going with a more universal cut, which I'm kind of curious about. Those previous uppers and lowers, those are then locked into that particular style and design. You can't really change it because there won't be parts available eventually. So if they're changing their cut so that you can go after the LR/SR 308 upper, then maybe that's going to be a good thing. I know that they're on a Gen 3 already, and so they might be making some major modifications to it to make it more universal. So I'm not 100% sure, but we'll take a look at the PSA AR-10s here in a little bit. Single shot, tell us about your DPMS 308. So you bought that a while ago. DPMS is just getting back into production now. But how has that DPMS 308 been for you?
It's been excellent, really. I will say one thing, that thing is heavy. It's got a
24 yeah, you're probably looking, what, 10 pounds plus? Yeah. Yeah, some of these have 20-inch barrels on them, too. So what's that?
Yeah. The last group that I shot with at 200 yards, I could cover with a nickel. So, yeah, that accuracy is definitely there. It is heavy. It's a match rifle. It was built for a match rifle.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's nothing light about 14 pounds empty. So I do break it out. I got to take it out again and put a few rounds through it. And
I don't know if those are back in production now, if they've gone, because I know they make the DPMS like Oracle or DPMS AR-15s. PSA owns DPMS, if I'm not mistaken, and they kind of make them as like a more just kind of retail line of AR-15, a lower cost alternative to kind of get those back, because people are familiar with the DPMS name. They've been around for, that was the first AR-15 I ever bought. It was a DPMS Oracle 15, which it was fairly inexpensive. Ran fine. I mean, fit and finish was okay. You know, never had any issues with it. I shot the heck out of it. So,
yeah, it likes the 150 grain FMJs. That's what the one bullet that rifle favors.
Yeah,
I would like to try a few other ones, a little bit lighter, a little bit heavier, maybe, and see how those work. But
here's the thing with the AR-10s too. Have you shot any steel case ammo through it? Did you ever fire any Tula or Wolf through it at all?
No. I'll either odds and ends of head stamps. PMC is the load that particular rifle likes. It's a PMC Gold, 150 grain FMJ.
I did notice when I read on the PSA website, or maybe it was the Bear Creek website, they're recommending certain types of ammo. They're not saying you can't shoot steel case ammo through those things, but you may not. You're buying it thinking that you're going to run steel case through it like you would a C308, you know, you might have some extraction issues. And so that's the other thing too, is, you know, you want to do magnums with it or whatever, you know, at $10 a mag, it's going to start to add up quick for 20 rounds of just basic FMJ ammo. You know, we're starting to see $10 for 20 rounds, 308 showing back up on the shelves again now too, which is a good thing, unless you load your own.
Yep. I got a bunch of brass loaded up, and I'm going to start working with a 150 grain soft point for that too.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I with those DPMSs, those original ones are probably still out there for sale, like over on Gunbroker and stuff. And I need to go check their modern catalog to see if they're making AR-10s again. They're, well, not AR-10s, but they're AR-10 style rifle, LR/SR 308 rifle. Because I with their rifles back in production, there's a chance they might be. So that is a solid choice that you could go with if you want to, if you're looking at used or maybe see one at a gun show and you're not sure. I would assume that those previous rifles can still be serviced by DPMS now. I really don't even know what the warranty was on the original guns, to be honest with you. But
now that the Oracle model came with a regular standard tapered barrel, 20-inch barrel. I've got the stainless steel heavy 24 match fluted on mine.
Okay.
And like I said, that thing is nothing you want to tote around for a long time.
Yeah. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy says I shoot steel case out of my 308s with no problems. Yeah, before you go buy a case, maybe buy a box or two and run it through and just make sure it's going to be okay, so you don't have issues with it. Watt75 says, I heard that certain 308 ammo runs good in hunting rifles, but not in semi-autos. Anybody know if that is true? Squib, you want to chime in on this one? You guys have any experience with this?
Yeah. Different manufacturers have different recipes, so it's going to run different. I've got four 308s, and the DPMS is just one.
Mm-hmm.
And the stuff that runs in my Encore rifle barrel runs in the DPMS okay, but it's not as good as the PMC. So there is a difference.
I'd recommend, like I said, buy several boxes of ammo and just see what benches best on it, what runs best reliably with no issues. Make sure you got a couple different magazines with you too, especially if you're dealing with any kind of surplus guns at all. Like if you get a C308, Century C308 or PTR 91, and you're running those G3 mags, those H&K G3 mags, you might want to just bring a few with you, because you might have one that's kind of dinged up or beat up that doesn't feed as good as, or might have some fatigue springs that might cause some feeding issues with it. So you may want to consider getting some newer mags or bringing a bunch of different mags for you. I would just say the only issue I could see running into is trying to run steel case ammo through something like a PSA or Bear Creek Arsenal, and it may not go. You might have some expansion issues and extraction issues, so that's something you definitely want to look out for. Then we got Tommy Gun up in Canada that says owned an FAL, British SLR, and then went prohibited, sold it sadly. Oh, geez. That is not good. That is not good. Tommy Gun also says steel case, no problem in my Stag 10. All right. So, okay. Now, Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy says, I had a SOCOM 16 a long time ago and it was junk. Traded it off, made a bad judgment, and sold my FAL, but still have my PTR 91 and an AR-10. So there's a lot of us out there that we'll check the polls here in a little bit. There's a lot of us out there that own them or have had them, or 308 battle rifles and so on. So we'll just take a look real quick at some popular AR-10 style LR SR 308s and just check out the prices. Now remember, none of us on the panel here are responsible for any purchases you may make after watching today's podcast. You might decide to go out and buy something, and if that's a situation, apologies in advance, but we're just here to try to guide you along. So PSA does have a Gen 3 PA-10 Midland gas system 308 with the EPT trigger for $839 with free shipping, which is not bad. I mean, anything under $1,000, I would say, is going to be a fair price. If you want to go up to a 20-inch barrel, it's going to be $859, and if you want to get some Magpul furniture, it's going to be $869. Now, really be careful with the reviews, because a lot of times people might complain because they got the rifle and it was a little dinged up, or the packaging got damaged, and then they give the rifle a 1-star review. You may want to look around and do some research just to make sure that a particular rifle doesn't have a series of problems with it. But we'll see what this says here. I'm just kind of curious if this person wrote a review.
That's a reasonable price on that rifle too. $850.
Yeah, and $839 if you don't like having a fixed front A2. $859 if you want to get your own flat top. Yeah.
Mine, when I bought that was retailing for about $1,500.
Oh, your DPMS that you bought?
Yeah, I picked that up for $859.
Does yours have that stainless steel barrel, or is yours a nitride finish or anodized or whatever? Yeah.
Stainless steel match, 1-inch barrel.
And this one has their slim style handguard. It kind of tapers down towards the middle, and then you get your pick rail sections on both ends of it. This one gets 4 out of 5 stars. I was going to see what the 1 stars had to complain about. Buffer tube was loose, stake but loose. I've contacted them. Look forward to a solution that makes this rifle worthy of 5 stars. I'm not sure. I mean, you didn't really review the rifle, though. When you think about it, you reviewed the rifle out of the box, but you didn't necessarily tell us, well, you couldn't review it, obviously, but I don't know. PSA's generally got pretty good customer service. I don't think you have a whole lot to worry about. There are some occasional bad apples or lemons that get out there, but my customer service experience with them has always been positive. So
yes, they are. They're good people.
Yeah, so on this one, like if you want to run a different upper with it or change out the bolt carrier group, just make sure you do your research, because it could be locked into somewhat proprietary build where you can only use their specific parts from their particular line. But otherwise, this is definitely not something that I would shy away from. So now you could go buy, the other thing too with PSA is you could go buy an upper and a lower separate, and then have the lower shipped, and then put the two together, and you might save $100 or $150. But after shipping, after sales tax, after FFL fees, a lot of the times it's going to be the same price as if you just bought the gun together. Hey, Squib, question for you. Is there some sort of a tax or an excise tax that the manufacturers have to pay for every complete AR-15 that they manufacture? Is that true?
I thought the excise tax was transferred onto the buyer, the end purchaser, but only under certain circumstances or something.
See, because I've always noticed that the complete guns, they always cost like $100 more, $50 to $100 more than buying just the upper and lower separate. And then you having the lower delivered, getting the upper delivered to your home, and then putting the two together and doing it yourself. They always seem to be $100 more, and I never understood why. It's like, why would I spend $100 more when I can just go buy the parts separate, get free shipping on both parts anyway? And
there are people that don't know how to put an upper onto a lower and push 2 pins in. So I don't know.
I guess I haven't discovered my channel yet, so no.
Yeah, no, that one I don't really have even from a manufacturing standpoint. I mean, if you're talking about inventory and having another SKU number and all that, and even that, I can't even put that on it. So if it does have to do with the excise tax, I always thought that was passed on to the consumer.
Okay. William Trader says, I run Hornady and Winchester hunting ammo on my PSA Gen 3 just fine. Yeah, I would just say buy some quality ammunition for it. Or if you reload your own, might be a good time to get into reloading 308. If you're already reloading, get the dice for it. It's not that hard. I reload my own 308 for my Ruger Ranch 308 bolt action rifle. Not that I'd want to burn through those reloads in a semi-auto, but if you don't want to go buy it, or if you can't get cheap 308 easily, or you don't want to pay for shipping prices online, reloading, it's always an option that you have too. So that's something you can do if you want to. All right. Then the next kind of budget alternative, if you will, pricing, if you want to get yourself into an AR-10, is Bear Creek Arsenal, which I've had different experiences with them. They do send me uppers to test on the channel. I've also bought plenty of uppers and rifles from them. They are selling a slick-sided, right-hand charging 308 20-inch stainless barrel 308 rifle for $699. You do get free shipping on $200 or more. Now, if you want to spend a little bit more for $712, you can get the nitride finished barrel with a different muzzle brake on it. And then after that, they go up to like $999, which really surprises me. I would think they'd want to go $899 to be more competitive with PSA, especially when you can go buy, and I'll show this off in a little bit, you could get an Aero Precision M5 LR-SR 308 lower, which I purchased before. I ran that with my 6.5 Creedmoor upper and a 308 upper, and build one for around $750, $800 delivered, even after transfer fee and sales tax. So it's hard for me to justify $1,000 for one, which again, Bear Creek, if you're listening, you guys should really try dropping your price $100 if you want to be more competitive. Now, there's a lot of people that are brand loyal to Bear Creek, and there's a lot of people that are brand loyal to PSA. But I mean, $699, I mean, it's almost worth trying it. It gets almost 4.5 stars on 3 reviews. That one's marked down 30% off. That's why it's kind of nice to check the Bear Creek website if you're ever interested. Now, granted, that's just going to get you plain, what do you call it? Your M4 style furniture, your basic mil-spec style furniture on it, which I don't even know if they do Magpul upgrades or anything like that. I don't see anything. So, but I mean, at least you've got that as an option if you want to. So you could at least get into one for under $750, which I think is a pretty good deal, just to try it out. And then they'll mention specifics about ammunition to run through it, magazines. They recommend the ASC magazines on the BCA website. So, I mean, that's always an option for you. And then Magpul's got LR-SR 308 mags that you can buy too. So you do have that as an upper. Okay, so like I said, we're looking at $1,000 when these are not on sale, right? Now, if we go back to Bear Creek's website, let's see here. Oh, William Trader says Bear Creek Arsenal also does a 10% military discount. I did not know that. Okay, cool. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy says, my AR-10 is a complete PSA, 18-inch stainless steel, no problems out of it. X Adam 1 says 308 locally for me can be found for around $21 a box. Yeah, I know, like, we can get some just plain box PPU, or I don't know, ZQI is available anymore, but around $10 for a box of 20 if I look around. But yeah, I mean, when we were looking at $17 to $20 a box for 308, I just really wasn't interested in an AR-10 at that point. That was, just from like a cost perspective, it was just a little bit more than I really wanted to spend on ammunition. So especially if I wanted to shoot it a lot. Tommy Gunn says, wow, America. Yeah, Tommy, if you look at our US dollar prices for those, we have fairly inexpensive AR-10s here too. So the other thing I want to look at here real quick and show you is just going to be, okay, so if you get your Arrow M5 AR 308 complete lower, which a lot of times you can buy those locally at gun stores, you can go over to Bear Creek and get yourself an upper. I guess I didn't look at the PSA uppers, but you can get yourself into a 16-inch right size charging upper for $349, 20-inch for $393, 20-inch for $383. So if you filter by price and go low to high, I mean, you get your lower for $400, you get your upper for $350, you pay your transfer fee for the lower, you're in it for around $750, which is not bad if you just want to get into and dabble with the AR-10 platform. Now, granted, that's not going to include any kind of optics or iron sights or red dot or anything along those lines, but that's just to kind of get you started. But a lot of your AR-15 parts are going to be compatible too. So that's something to keep in mind. So if you want the slick side rear charging 308, you can get that for $359. So that's not going to have a forward assist on it or a shell deflector. I don't even know if they even make anything like that anymore. They're starting to get a little more rare. Here's a 20-inch barreled model rear charger, which I recommend personally, with the shell deflector for $368 with a 15-inch rail, 1 in 10 twist. So again, you've got lots of options. Single shot, what do you think about that? Pretty good deal?
Yeah.
Sub $400 308 upper. Yeah.
It's not bad at all. I've been looking at different uppers through Bear Creek and PSA. So I'd like to try like a 243 or something like that.
Oh, yeah, they have those too. Yeah, I've tested the 6.5 Creedmoor, but the 243s do pop up from time to time. They're a little more expensive. They're around $450, sometimes $500. During pandemic times, they were pushing $600. So, oh, William Trader out there says that CDNN usually has 308 lowers for $300. Does that include the bulk carrier group? Because that's something you have to take into consideration. Because if you got to get a 308 bulk carrier, that's going to be like another $100. So just kind of keep that in mind. But that's still not a bad deal, not a bad price at all.
No.
Okay, let's see. Squib, do you have experience with Arrow precision rifles? Do you buy Arrow at all? I can't remember. Arrow or Anderson? What do you go with?
I've got more Andersons than any other brand. I don't own an Arrow right now. That's next on the list for ARs. Okay. So at some point I will. I've never heard anything bad about them. I've recommended by Heavy B. So, you know, if he recommends it, I'll definitely go with it. But yeah, I haven't got into that yet. It's been one of those things where I'm just procrastinating with it. That's all.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love the Atlas handguard uppers and stuff. I watch like, you know, TFB videos and they'll run the Arrow rifles at like Thunder Ranch and stuff. Really gets a lot of interest in me. You're going to probably drop around $800, $700 or $800, I would think, on a decent one from Arrow. Now, I can say this. I did buy an M5 308 complete lower, just like this that you see right here for $369. I paid $299 at my local gun store for it, and I got it without a transfer fee. You can also get a flat dark or a Cerakoted version for $389. So this is LR SR 308 compatible. This will work with Bear Creek Arsenal AR-10 standard LR SR uppers. So you can use this with your 6.5 Creedmoor upper, your 243 upper, your 308 upper, anything that's going to require you to use an LR SR 308 magazine. Had no trouble with it at all. It basically just looks like a larger version of an M4 lower. That's essentially what it is. So I don't know if there's parts kit compatibility between AR-15s and AR-10s in terms of the trigger pack or the pistol grip or the stock, but it is a nice basic way to get started. So if anything, maybe even just pick up one of these if you ever get a chance, you know, say you get one for $300 and you have it. And then if you ever want to add an upper to it, you can. Works great, runs great. Trigger was actually really good on it. If you check my YouTube channel on the 6.5 Creedmoor range test, I was using the Arrow M5 lower with it. And that was just because locally I was able to get it for about the same price as ordering it online after tax and so on. So I do recommend this one if you want to go this route. Now, nothing against going with a like Stoner AR-10 or whoever makes that actual standard, you know. But again, you just want to make sure that you do your research and so on. So again, that's just an option that you also have. Let's see. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy says 308's finally back everywhere here in Michigan. $21 up to $40 a box. Squib, I got to ask you on this one. Can you get 308 locally for less than $20 a box, or is that par for the course?
I don't I don't shop for it.
See
I don't even.
Okay.
If I don't shoot it, I don't even look at the price.
Okay.
I mean, like if you were like, hey man, can you check out price? If you sent me a text next time you're at Dunham's, can you tell me what it's running in Michigan?
Yeah.
I'd look, but otherwise, if I don't shoot it, I don't price it. I don't have a 308 or a 7.62x51 yet. I don't have a single solitaire. Never owned one in my life. I'm not opposed to them just because I don't. It's just not high on the priority list.
I was trying to find some sort of application for every gun, not to justify the purchase, but like, okay, I want this as a bedside gun. Okay, I want this to hunt this game. I want this to hunt that game. Okay, I want this one for home defense. I want this one for truck, and I try to help myself justify it. Yeah. And I do have a 308 battle rifle, which we'll talk about here in a little bit. I mean, but
if you can apply a purpose to it as somebody who owns guns, that it's helpful. Just to buy it. Well, hey man, it's your money. Do what you want. I mean, I collect guns, right? I've got guns that are for hunting, guns are for home defense, guns that are for open and concealed carry, guns that are just range toys, right? Right after I did the Glock thing, people are like, you get a Glock, dude. For me, that was that. I'm glad I got to shoot a couple different ones and all that, but I look at that as a range toy. So it's not high on the priority list. A new hunting rifle is higher on the priority list for me. And because I can only use that 308 or 7.62x51 in one area that I hunt in the state, it's not as appealing as something that I can use anywhere in the state. So that plays into a factor. So yeah, I totally get the whole justifying thing. It's not like, man, I've got to come up with a reason, or I can't spend the money. No, you do what you want with your money, but it's kind of nice to know this is the reason I'm buying this. It's for, turkey season, or it's as a collector's item, or whatever it is. So I'm not opposed to the caliber or anything else like that. I mean, and I can use all of the reload stuff that I've got for 30-06, except for the dies, to reload my own 308 or 7.62x51. So there's some compatibility there with the caliber and whatnot, but unfortunately, I wouldn't even look at the price of it because I'm not going to buy it. I mean, I do keep ammunition for guns I don't own yet, or guns I don't own at all, but I haven't bought any of that stuff. And like, I might have thrown on a few boxes of it with an order of something else because it was a really good price back in the day. And then I'm one of these people who doesn't go, I can't pay this much for ammo. Well, I bought my 7.62x51 back in 2010.
Yeah, and so I buy ammo and calibers that I don't use, so I can give it to you when you come visit. 10mm.
Yeah.
Honestly, I bought it because it was the only stuff on the shelves during pandemic times. I'm like, well, at least I've got it in case I ever want to get a handgun in 10mm or 40, which I haven't done. So, I think 7.62x51 in a 20-round box was running like under $10 a box back in 2010. I could tell you that. So that might have been the last until 2015. Walmart was carrying ZQI 308 for $10 a box. I was buying tons of it because at the time what the heck was I running at that point? I think I had a Mossberg Patriot. No, I had an old Mossberg Bolt Action 308. So I was buying the ammo pretty cheap. And then in 2015, I bought a Zastava M77 the first time they were imported, and it had all this 308, and I was getting it for $10 a box, which was really nice. So, and no, I was just asking you, a lot of times I'll get questions on my channel like, hey, what are your thoughts on 350 Legend, or what are your thoughts on, 6.5 PRC? And it's like, I don't have any experience with this, so I can't tell you. If I've never shot it or really researched it, I really can't make a judgment call on it. So, yeah.
And yeah, that's just it too. You get asked that sort of question. It's like, all right, I shot this one time and I didn't like it.
I borrowed somebody's gun at the range. They handed it to me. I did a mag. It was fun.
Did you try it on multiple platforms? Did you try different ammunition? Under what circumstances were you doing it? And that's all you have to go off of. It's more than the other person has, but now they're just gonna just take what your experience is gospel. And it's like, dude, individual results may vary.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I don't know. When you do the coffee reviews, do you get comments like, I can't believe you reviewed that coffee, it sucked?
No, I don't get a lot of comments on my coffee reviews other than you guys saying, hey, great job or cool review. I don't really have a lot of people chime in. And what's funny is a few of the ones that I've really promoted, like Great Value French Roast, I've had a lot of people say, yeah, man, this is totally an underrated dark coffee. Like, it's cheap, it's good, it's consistent. I mean, that's like, there's a few blends that I said, guys, get this and try. And like a lot of fans of that particular roast will chime in on it. And once in a while, people will say, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever had anybody say that they didn't like one that I've tried. I need to go back in the comments and check, but no.
Okay. So now you use the term underrated. Okay, so
Mhm.
underrated battle rifle that fits into this. Is there something out there, whether it be really expensive or fairly affordable, that maybe doesn't get the attention and it's somewhat underrated?
I would say do your own build if you want. I mean, like get a PSA upper and then buy a strip lower, buy a parts kit and build your own. And then that's going to be kind of the best way to do it. I don't know, because every AR-10 battle rifle or 308 battle rifle we're looking at is $1,000 on up, other than the few we've shown on sale. Everything's $1,000. So it's hard to say that there's a good deal out there unless you could pick up something used. Like say you find something like what Single Shot has at the gun show for like $700. Like, hey, these are one of the most underrated, 308 battle rifles out there that run well. I would almost say that DPMS is, if you can find one. And that's just the thing is, okay, so here I'm answering, Gunmetal Guy USA's question. I have a tan version of the same Set Me Sporter as you. I've got a Century C308 that I bought from Foos. It's been slightly modified. He goes, have they dried up? Is it worth holding on to? Well, Gunmetal Guy USA, I found one. Now, these were for sale on Classic Firearms a couple of years ago. They had an olive drab and they had an FDE in black, and you could get your choice. And I want to say they were $6.99. Well, here you go. There's one for sale. He does throw some mags in there, which is worth maybe $100 worth of magazines at $10 a mag, right? He's got an optic on it. I don't know if it's anything really high dollar, and he's got a suppressor attachment on the end of it, which adds a little bit of value to it. But he wants $1,500 for this. So Gunmetal Guy USA, I will say this, with that gun being a parts kit, being a milsurp, I don't know of any milsurps that have ever gone down in price. You guys at all? Single Shot? You ever seen a milsurp rifle go down in value that's just kind of kept that's not been sporterized, that's not beat to hell? Yeah.
Yeah, no. And he's getting a good deal on those mags. I had to pay $25 a piece for my DPMS mags for that LR10.
Yeah, well, if you have to buy Magpul LRSR mags, or you're buying DPMS 20-round box mags or whatever, these are cheap. These magazines you can buy them at gun shows for $4 to $5 a piece. G3 mags here. Yeah. What I'm saying is this guy's making this look like a really good deal. He's 3 times more than what the rifle sold for maybe 4 years ago. So Gunmetal Guy, I would say hold on to it unless you want to make a quick $1,000. You could sell it. The thing is that FDE, and I'm a sucker for like OD green guns. A lot of times you're willing to pay a premium for a gun with a particular finish, especially a factory Cerakote finish. If you really want that color, people will pay a premium for it. So Gunmetal Guy USA, depends. Do you want to keep that rifle, or do you want to sell it for potentially $1,500? You say, well, nobody's going to pay that price. No, I guarantee you this rifle is going to be gone in about 2 weeks, because there's no other FDE C308s for sale on All Gun Broker. And it's the first place that people go.
The thing is, once you sell it, you kick yourself in the backside for doing it.
Yep,
I know. Yep. I would hold on to it personally, just because they're going to go up. I'm going to say this: that's going to be a $2,000 rifle in about a year or two. I can just looking at the way milsurp prices are going, that Carcanos have doubled in price already. Mosins are $400. I would keep it as an investment. I would keep it. You're never going to lose money on it. It's never going to go back down below the $600 you might have paid for it originally.
But he might also be the kind of person that buys and sells and buys and sells. I'm not, so it's a foreign concept to me, right? Yeah. So my perspective is all of the deals on milsurps. I'm a milsurp guy. I love collecting these things, and I've passed up on this and passed up on that, and then later the price, or just it's so hard to find it or whatever, and I'm going, why didn't I buy it at that point? So that would probably be my feeling, my perspective, if I sold something and then 5 or 10 years later I wanted it back, and I'm going, it's how much? So
look at his comment. Look at his comment right here. Same Classic Farms package deal. It was $500 with a bundle of mags. They were $500 like in 2017 or 2018, if I'm not mistaken.
So if you're the kind of person that you're constantly needing a new gun, and you get bored with the old guns and it doesn't mean anything to you to unload it, hey, go for it. But if you're like, no, I really like this, it's just look at how much money I could make off of it, that's great. But if you ever want it again, are you willing to walk away from it? And I mean, I've had hobbies in my life that I've walked away from, and I thought I was going to have problems with it. Nope. No problem at all. So if you're selling it and you're taking that money to buy something else that you're going to like so much that you're okay with it, it's a personal decision. But if you're just looking to make a quick buck, if you hold on to it a little bit longer, you might make a bigger buck.
Here's case in point. In the last 4 years, C308 prices have doubled, literally. You're looking at $1,000. Buy it now for $1,100. And some of these are going to need some tweaking. Some of these could have gas issues. You might have to replace buffers. You might have weird trigger packs and stuff. I paid, I think, close to $1,000 for the one that I bought from Foos, but I also got a complete parts kit for a second gun. I got a bunch of mags. He threw in some ammo. I got extra furniture. I got a really good deal. Most of these people are just throwing in a couple magazines and that's it. And those magazines are not a big deal. You can buy them for $5 online or $7 or $10, basically unissued, the H&K box mags, which that does make a C308 a really good value if you want to get into a C308 battle rifle with a cool kind of pedigree and heritage, but also understand that you're buying a parts kit based rifle, which could have some issues. Mine, I ended up swapping out the trigger pack for a Gunsmith modified semi-auto H&K trigger pack, which is fantastic now, but before it did have some double tap issues. So, I mean, they're not going to be perfect out of the box. So if you get one, don't expect it to just be 100% flawless out of the box. But that's kind of the thing with these battle rifles, having a origin as a mil-serp rifle. That's something that you can run into.
That's right. You mentioned the Mosin here a minute ago.
Oh, the Mosin Nagants? Yeah.
I bought 2 of them things for $108 a piece. Look at the price on them now.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
crazy.
Yeah, $375 for a non-matching beater, $350 for a non-numbers matching, just okay model, maybe firing model. So, this is totally unrelated, but here you go, guys. 2 translucent Turkish HK G3 mags. If you ever see these at a gun show, you better buy them. Rare, $650. $650. Buy it now for $700. These are polymer Turkish manufactured mags. So if you ever see these at a garage sale or you ever see them at a gun show, you better buy them. So there you go. But just talking about the C308, because again, it's one of the more affordable, if you will, ways to get into the 308 battle rifle. Starting bid at $899, buy now for $1,000. You can get parts for them that. Squib, what's the website called? RTG? Is it RTG 91 or RTG?
RTG Parts. It stands for Robert something other, and they sell surplus parts as well as some new stuff, ammo sometimes, gas masks. They've got a little bit of everything.
Yeah, they do. They're a good parts supplier. You can get basically all the parts that you need to fix or rebuild a C308 if something wears out. Charging handles, trigger parts, springs. You can get stuff from them. Shipping is very fair.
I've used them for years, mostly for mil-serp parts. I've never had a problem. I've never had any problem with what they've sent me, or damaged packages, or waiting a long period of time, or anything. I've never really had to use their customer service because I've never had an issue. And I've make a couple purchases from them every year, and I've been using them for years.
Okay. Gunmetal Guy USA says, nope, I'm not a collector or seller. I wanted it plain and simple. I wanted to pass down, but no kids. My nephews are not into guns, and they are into cell phones and skinny jeans. So Gunmetal Guy, we need an intervention. This is why you take your nephews to the range, get them all jacked up on Monster Energy drink, take them to the range, take away their phones, and then make them shoot and make them discover the magic that is the C308 battle rifle. All right.
So I have 2 alternatives for him.
This is a cry for help. Go on, Squib.
One is go make some kids, okay?
There you go.
If you love company, we
go find some. Don't buy them, but adopt them if you can.
Yes. Go make some kids, or
import some children.
I want you to think about all of your friends out there.
Yes.
Who will make sure who have kids, who will make sure that these rifles get a good home, and that they're passed down from generation to generation.
Squib has many spawn out there. If you're willing to just send one to Squib, he'll be happy to be sure that it's passed on through a Pro 2A lineage, if you will.
That's one of the reasons I don't sell my guns. It isn't just a personal thing where I don't like doing it. It's that the kids are going to get them after I go, or the grandkids, or a little bit of both. And my instructions are that these stay in the family forever. Now I realize you're going to have the one skinny jeans cell phone kid, great grandkid who isn't going to care, right? You're going to have the kid who marries a woman and says there's not going to be any guns in this house, and he's going to be like some sort of simp and give in to her, which do not do that. Do not ever do that.
She says no guns with your child.
If she says no guns, you
say, son, you're not marrying that woman.
Yeah. Dude, are you crazy? Red flags everywhere, dude.
Red flags. She'll red flag
the other thing is
she'll red flag your dog. She'll red flag your goldfish.
There could be
semi-automatic goldfish.
Yeah, there could be the deadbeat great grandson who gets into trouble and they have all their guns confiscated, or they sell all their guns for crack money or something. I'm not going to know because I'm going to be dead. Dude,
it's real, for a house down payment, but you're sitting here just talking about fentanyl.
No. Yeah. So somebody might look at scenarios like that and go, "Why bother passing them down?" And it's like, okay, if you want to, you want to unload them. You want to unload them before you go, but the reality is, after you go, you don't know what's going to happen to these. But you hope that you instill enough appreciation for the Second Amendment and patriotism and just America into your kids that they do it with their kids and their kids and their kids. If it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, but you won't be around to see it. But I definitely will be leaving them a decent arsenal. And I think some of the things if I've got a grandkid that is really into guns, and this is, Grandpa, this is a $5,000 rifle. Yeah, I paid $250 for it.
$299 on Classic Firearms back in 2010.
Yeah, back in '96, I paid $250, and he's
Before
there doing
your grandmother.
Yeah, he's doing the Google calculator based on inflation, and he's going, even at the rate of inflation, this thing has quadruple, or
this
whatever.
Will buy my textbooks next fall for college. Yeah.
Well, now see, and that would be the thing. If I had one going, yeah, can I have your 308 battle rifle because I want to pawn it so I can buy textbooks? It'd be like, you don't need an education, son. You need one of these, boy.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, good job.
Bois 75 mic drop macros are $5.99 now. Jeez, yeah, they were $270. They were $300 last year. I don't know what I really do blame, and I've got nothing against Atlantic or Classic Farms, but every time these things dry up and they bring them back at a higher price point. Now you could say, well, supply and demand. Well, they're setting the price. I'm sorry, but like, I don't know. I find it hard to believe that these orders they placed 2 or 3 years ago that are now showing up from the Ukraine or Latvia or Bulgaria, they're now having to like pay this new market price on them. I don't know. I'm just complaining. It's me complaining that I'd love to know what causes these to actually go up. So Gunmetal Guy USA says, hilarious. That's why I enjoy this chat. You guys are ridiculously clever. Years and years of experience, Gunmetal Guy USA. I don't even have any kids, and I can make fun of them constantly. So now I will say this. I'm going to be setting up a gun trust this summer, and my firearms are going to stay in the family. I've already got family members that are going to be set up to receive them, and we've discussed it. So we'll talk about gun trust some other time again.
That would be a good conversation. That would be a good conversation because it gets me thinking about the grandkids I don't have yet. And actually no, all right. So here's the thing. Gunmetal Guy, what he brings up, and I know I'm kind of going off topic, but whatever. You invited me. This is what you get.
Coffee's kicking in. We all got to pee. Okay, go ahead.
This is what you get for inviting me. So, Gunmetal Guy, my sons may not give us any grandchildren. In this day and age, young men are seeing what happened to their dads in family court.
They're getting married later,
and all these other things, and
they're just not getting married or having kids.
Yeah.
Neither one of my kids have expressed an interest in being parents. Now, anything could change, intentionally or unintentionally. I guess
can happen.
Yeah. Or they could marry. They could end up marrying a woman who already has kids, and that's fine by me as long as those kids are respectful and that sort of thing. Then it doesn't matter to me about that sort of thing. So at some point, maybe I will get to pass on my knowledge and some of my things to, but if I don't, I think I would, right now, just thinking about it, I might gravitate towards somebody in the family who I thought might be able to pass these on, or maybe find a friend with kids that, they're doing what I won't be able to, or I should say a friend with grandkids, right? A friend with grandkids that maybe, I don't know. This would be a good discussion, Travis.
We could talk about, so here's the thing. Now I'm answering, Gunmetal Guy USA says, that would be a good chat about trust. Please do so. Thanks. Well, Gunmetal Guy USA, I'd like to reference you back to Caliber Corner episode number 138, which was called In Guns We Trust, Firearms Trust Basics. And then we also had caliber spotlight on 9mm major. So that was a very lively discussion. So I did some research on the various gun trust and gun trust language that's out there. And maybe we can go back and revisit that topic and talk about like future plans for your firearms, what's going to happen to them, because the gun trust is probably one of the best ways to go. I live in a rental. If something would happen to me and my family would need access to my firearms, that trust tells the landlords, you have to let us in to retrieve these firearms. So that's why you really want to consider it, because they might say, well, we can't let you in because you have to prove your family or next of kin, where the trust says legally this property does not belong, this property belongs to us. So that's one good thing about the gun trust. But again, we'll talk about that some other time. But if you talk to a local lawyer, you can get your gun trust set up, especially if you got NFA items, suppressors, SBRs. You need to make accommodations for those items when you're not here anymore, so that they don't go to the government. That's the last place you want them to go.
Yeah.
God forbid they end up at some buyback or something and they get turned into scrap metal. So.
Yeah, I'm with you as far as not having the children. I don't have anybody to pass it down to as far as my blood children, Yeah. And my two godchildren, they are not into it, so they're not interested in that stuff at all. So I'm very willing to pass on.
It's called freedom. Tell them it's not that stuff. It's freedom.
Yeah, that's right.
Look, if you want to be ruled by the British again, that's fine, but we're not going to let it happen. So
no, I'm very willing to pass on my knowledge to different people, and I hope my conversations sometimes do help. So I've got a lot of knowledge that I'd like to pass on myself.
Mm-hmm. Tommy Gun, can you find an M1A for under $1,000? Guys, you got to answer this one. I haven't looked.
No, not only no, but hell no. That's spelled N-O. What part of no don't you understand?
To see what an M1A. Gunbroker is one of the worst places. It's like Gunbroker is the bring a trailer. If you guys don't know what bringatrailer.com is, it's the bring a trailer of guns. It's like people pay way more than they need to for guns that they really don't want, but they feel like they have to have. Or it's the only place to find it, and so therefore they go find it there. I'm looking at $16.99 for a Springfield M1A. $16.99 new. Buy it now over on Gunbroker. So $15.49 if you want polymer furniture.
The least expensive, where you're going to have to fill out a 4473, go to Fulton Armory and look at their barreled actions. You can get an M14 barreled action. It's a semi-auto, guys, so don't freak out about that, for just under $1,300. So you've got the barrel, you've got the receiver, it's got a serial number. All you got to do is drop in all the little parts and get a stock. Well, at that point, you're probably better off buying that Springfield, even though I don't want to support Springfield.
Okay. Yeah. Guys, it looks like we had a breakthrough in our intervention with Gunmetal Guys. Gunmetal Guy USA, I'm proud of you. I'm going to send you a virtual hug right now. He goes, at the chat, have no fear. You have convinced me. I will take the nephews to the range. Engage their reactions. Whomever's eyes glisten over, I'm going all in. I'm prepping him to take them and support the two.
There you go, man. There
you go.
Put the phones in the car, and then start them light. Start them with some 22s, and then work your way up the food chain and see how they can handle an AR, and then maybe an AK if you got one, and then a 308, and there's got to be some hope. There's got to be a way we can get through these. We have to save the children, everybody. Save the children. Save the next generation of gun owners is what we need to do.
Absolutely.
So,
Gunmetal Guy USA, there's one way to look at this too, is that these kids have got these first-person shooter games where they run through these stupid mazes, and they look like MMA fighters, and they're carrying more gear than I carried in the Marine Corps. And it's the same game. They're all the same game. They just change the landscape, and it's stupid. They go, you get a chest, and there's a med kit in there. Now you're healed. You get a chest, and there's a rocket launcher, and there's like, you can carry this around and all this stuff. But they're all literally the same game. They just keep buying them at $100 a whack and playing them, and they master them in under 3 days, hell, sometimes under a day. And then you go into and you're watching them going, this is so boring. And in real combat, you wouldn't do that. You'd get killed. But the thing is, in these games, they've got the real guns. Sometimes they look the same. Everything else, they charge the same. All that, and then other times they're different colors, or they give them a different name. I don't know if they don't want to get sued or something. Yeah. Now here's the thing between my sons and their friends. Their friends play these games with them online. My sons own some of the guns in the game online, and their friends don't. That's the difference. And my sons understand what this feels like, what it sounds like, what it smells like, how heavy it is, all this. They get that. They understand that you don't really do a mag change like that, or you really do, because some of the graphics on there and the sights and stuff are
the manual of arms is identical to real life.
Yeah.
Reloading, tap racking. You just don't have the malfunctions in real life that you can in the video games. That's the only thing I've really noticed. Yeah.
So if your nephews play some of these games and you watch them and you see some of these, because they'll play with some of the older stuff, right? They'll play with an older Milsurp rifle or something else like that,
and they have the same names. It'll be a 1911 A1. It'll be an M16 A2. It'll be whatever. The one that I play is called PUBG, Player Unknown Battlegrounds, where they drop you on an island and you got to pick stuff up to arm yourself. And there's a lot of like old Milsurps in the video game when you're playing it. Pretty unrealistic though. It takes around 10 to 12 rounds of 308 to drop somebody and kill them. So at 100, it's like, how many times do I have to keep plugging this dude before he finally goes? Because in the video game, what do you do have body armor on and stuff like that? But anyway, enough of that. But the thing is, kids do know a lot more about firearms than maybe we realize, because we're going on 15 years of Call of Duty at this point. Almost 2 generations of kids that have passed through this whole video game series, and so they're gonna know the names of the guns. They'll know PS90, or P90. They'll know,
But if you ask them what their favorite games are, and you ask them what the favorite guns are in there, and you start hearing some of the names of guns you have, and it's like, how would you like to shoot one for real? Bam! You just broke the ice.
Just don't even tell them. Just tell your mom you're going to pick them up and take them to go shopping, and then where are we going?
Well, they'll end up shopping for sure.
Trees all around us. Where's the electrical poles, Uncle? Shut up. Drink this can of Monster.
See, though, I would be though. I do have certain things that I won't tolerate. So, for example, if they're like, "Yeah, my favorite gun in the game is the FAL," you did not just call it that. It is an FAL.
The FAL.
Oh, okay. So my second favorite is an AUG. You did not just call it that.
It's an SCAR. I love the SCARL.
I will school you. I will school you. You don't right now. You don't know the difference between a high power and a high point. I will school you. And it's like one of those kung fu movies where I'm the old master.
Again, this is my plea to all of you listening today. We need to save the children. We need to get out there and we need to help them understand the importance of their freedom and the tools of those freedom and the safe use of that freedom. Geez. X Adam 1 says, who jumps up in the air, pulls up a long range scope, and takes a shot at someone 8 yards away? Well, I had to, X Adam 1, because it was the optic that was equipped on my M16 as I was running around the island. What else am I supposed to do? Unequip it, then shoot with iron sights? No.
Yeah, so at MCT, they had us do that every day. As a matter of fact, we got up and had to do that before we could have chow. No, some of this stuff is, they'll run right out in the open in a courtyard, and they're standing around and they're looking around, and I'm going, what are you doing? Get under cover.
Oh, God. All right. So
that close range, you can use point fire method. You don't even have to use a scope.
You don't even have to. You can hip fire 80 style and get your target if you want to. So, yeah.
Gee.
So a nicer alternative to the C308, let's transition back now, is the PTR 91 series. I've heard good and bad things about them. Sometimes they take a little bit of break-in. If I'm not mistaken, these are now new manufacturer firearms, and I could be wrong about this. I think originally they were built on H&K tooling. They've probably since moved that tooling out and moved in their own. But if you want a new manufacturer 308 battle rifle, you can get a PTR series. They've got the GI series, which is around $1,100. They used to be $999. This looks pretty nice. The A3S, which is $1,249, and it's going to be compatible for the most part with most of your set me furniture. If you want to put wood furniture on it, or say an H&K wide handguard on it, different options for flash suppressors. And since these are made in the USA, 922R, I believe, does not apply to these devices because these are American manufactured firearms. So this would be a nice way to get into one. I know Foose has one, and I know that he had to do a little bit of tweaking on his to get it to run 100%, but it's just kind of part of the design. But again, if you want to get into one, I would almost say this would be a nice alternative to an AR-10. These do take those G3 box magazines, H&K mags, which you can get for $4 or $5 at gun shows. You can buy them basically new unissued for $10. So, okay, now this says sold out, but if you look around, you can find PTR 91s for sale online all day. You just have to hunt around just a little bit. So again, this would be an option for you. And I'm not sure what the trigger packs are like. My Set-Me C308 had an okay trigger pack. It did have some double tap issues, but then I swapped it out for an H&K unit. So again, not a bad option. I can't say much about the company right now. I've seen good and bad about the rifles, but this is definitely an option for you if you want it. So that is another option that's out there. See if anybody's making comments on the PTR 91. If anybody out there has one, let me know. A bunch of people are saying good morning to each other. G23 says, at Travis P11, I won't be having a show today. Okay, well, that's good to know. It's good to know. All right. Okay, we'll go on.
He'll be taking some nephews to the range.
Yeah, that's right. No, that's not
There you
G23.
go.
It's Gunmetal Guy USA that's taking the kids to the range. Let's see here. Where's this? Okay, so now the next option, if you want to go big or go home, is the H&K G3 or the HK 91. I think is going to be the imported civilian version of it. Is what we're looking at. So if you want one and you've got the money sitting around, like Squib, who's got just piles of gold bullion in his basement.
It's all credit, dude. It's all credit.
It's all credit. If you want to finance a nice H&K 91, you can get one for $6,000 over here on Gunbroker.
Now, I will say this. All right, you might
Sure.
say that's out of the range of what you can afford, but the monthly payments you probably could, and you might go, yeah, but it's crazy. This thing is only going to go up in value. But the interest, I guarantee you, every gun that I've bought that I've paid interest on, it's worth so much more than what I paid for it, plus the interest. So if you're looking at an investment, or you really want one of these things, or it's a bucket list gun or something like that, just consider financing it if you don't keep $6,000 sitting in the savings account or something like that, because this thing will only go up in value. So even with that small amount of interest you're going to pay on it, and you might say, well, it's so many $100. When this thing doubles in price, you're going to be like, oh, I paid $600 in interest. Big deal.
This is sweet. Collapsible stock model, factory collapsible stock. Oh, hello. These are pre-banned, by the way, 1981 manufacturer, which is why you're going to pay a premium. Plus, it's H&K. You're getting the closest thing you can to the actual machine gun, right? I mean, it's the closest thing you're going to get to it as for an American to own something like this. Starting bid $34.99. So yeah, if you're interested in that, that is something that's out there. That would be probably the ultimate. Yeah, as an investment piece, I don't know if these prices are overinflated or what would be considered market value, but if you see these at a gun show, or I just don't know if you're going to be able to get a better deal on it. So if you want, again, this is always an option. If you want to just go big or go home, so to speak, this is something you can do.
Yeah.
Tommy Gunn was talking about DSA. We're going to check out DSA here in just a minute. I want to show off one more rifle that's new, sorta, that's kind of making some waves right now, that's being featured online. So back in 2015, I did a video for the Zastava M77. Now, the one that I had was a 922R compliant model that had a welded thread protector on the end, no slant style brake, no compensator. It had a thumb hole stock that came with it, and it came with the worst, most god awful 10-round box magazine I've ever seen in my life. Like, it was flimsy. It was terrible. There is a company called CS Specs that started making magazines for that rifle. Now, that rifle disappeared around 2017, 2018, and I've got a video of it to show you that I actually owned it. I did a few, legal modifications to it, stock wise and stuff. Well, Zastava is now re-releasing the M77. They've been announcing this. They kind of announced it about a month or two ago on TFB TV, and now they're starting to show up in the videos. So you can get an M77 again. Now, granted, I paid $700 for mine, probably about $1,000 with the modifications I made to it, getting the stock adapter, which was like $150, and then a Magpul stock and a Magpul grip. Actually, I put a Hogue AK-47 grip on mine, put a Tapco brake on it, and so on. But they're now available if you want one, and they're in stock. So if you want to get a factory manufactured 308, I guess we could call it a battle rifle, and you don't want to spend, $2,000 on a Vepr or whatnot, the Zastava M77 is a nice alternative. So these are $1,373. I would buy one if I didn't already have my C308. I'd probably go back and buy one because I sold mine like an idiot, and I really miss having one. And I wouldn't be surprised if CS Specs is making the magazines for Zastava because they are designed for this rifle. You could modify FAL magazines. Squib, you can modify FAL magazines and make them work. But CS Specs came out with, thank God, 20 and 10 round mags, and they came out with a 10 round mag with a 5-round limiter that you could pop in there. So you could use it for hunting if you want to, if you're allowed to use semi-auto like you can in Nebraska with 6 rounds or less.
Yeah. You can't
so 1373, and this also has an adjustable gas port on it. So if the ammo that you're shooting is crap and you need to allow a little more gas, you can actually lift this little lever down here in the end, and you can turn the knob and it'll allow more or less gas. Now this has the slant style brake on it. This has a different stock than what I had, and it's got a different kind of mounting system on the rear. I don't know if that's expandable or not. Mine had an AR-15 buffer tube on the back with like a trunnion adapter, and I was running a Magpul stock on mine. This does have your rail on it, so you can get an RS Regulate rail on it. Looks like it's got maybe a US palm grip, I'm guessing. And I'm not sure if the barrel is original Zastava, if it's, produced from Europe, or if it's an American-made barrel. I'd have to go back and watch the video. It is a 19.7-inch threaded cold hammer forged barrel, which is awesome. Chrome lined, so you can run trash ammo through it if you want to. Adjustable gas system. TD pistol grip. Okay, it looks like a US Palm one. Weighs 8.6 pounds, and you get one 20-round magazine. Now, the magazines are stamped Zastava, but I think they look identical to the CS Specs models. So the only problem with this now, you're already dropping $1,400, and if you got that kind of money, you probably don't care about the price of mags. But magazines run about $45 each. But they are steel, they are designed for that gun, and they are guaranteed to work. So they don't need any kind of modifications or sanding or anything like that. You put it in there, it's going to run. So that is an option if you want to get into a 308 AK pattern battle rifle. So that's something that you can definitely do if you want to. All right. So guys, what are we missing here? We'll go to DS Arms real quick, and then we can also just check out like M1 options, M1A options again. Tommy Dunn says, I'm a fanboy of the FAL. Did my basic training with the FAL. So Defense Dad said, you started without me? Yes, Defense Dad. Yes, we did.
You gotta get up and get going in the morning, Defense Dad.
Right, man. I get up at 5:30. You should too. So there you go. Just messing with you, brother. The Defense Dad's out there. Yeah.
I've got a couple after you're done with the DSA.
Good. Yeah. I need some suggestions because I know if I forget something, I'm never going to hear the end of it from people. So, all right. So DS Arms, checking it out. You can get their Jungle Carbine for $1,500, I think, and I believe these are all
they've got a
manufacturer. Yeah,
they've got a stripped down one. They've got an entry level one. I mean, it'll get you. I think you can change out some of the parts on it if you wanted to modify it later, but they've got their least expensive one is stripped down. It's bare bones, but it'll get you in the door, your foot in the door.
And then just locate the furniture online and just add whatever you want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's got like non-adjustable sights and just it's featureless. I mean, it's not like compliant. It's just they stripped it down off of everything. I still want to say it's like $1,100 or something.
Okay, well, $1,550 will get you the 16-inch Jungle Warrior carbine, or the one that Squib's going to order after the show today, the Hebrew Warhammer, right?
Yes.
There you go. $22.95, not in stock, has been in stock before. So what is it about this gun? What makes this the ultimate battle rifle for you?
So this is a new receiver with surplus parts on it, and this is as close as you're going to get to having a real Israeli FAL. And I love the wood furniture. Not every country used it, but I love that's
worthy of like a coffee table, man. Look at that.
Yeah, at least okay. When I looked at this at NRAM back at 2019, that's what he showed it to me, and he said, "Yeah, this is new, but this is surplus. So they buy the parts kit and then they put it on their receiver." Now I don't know that picture, man, they took the best parts that they got, so I don't know if maybe some of that is new manufacturer wood there. They just polished it up.
They put like a new powder coat on them or something like that. So.
Yeah, maybe something like that. But it's a combination of both. So I get a little bit of the Milsurp from the collector side of me, and then I get a little bit of the new manufacturer made in America, Merca, and that sort of thing. It's almost doubled in price since 2019. So Yeah.
So this is not available, and this says, Squib, I'm sorry, it says this will be the last Israeli light battle rifles we will be able to assemble. So don't miss this opportunity.
So what they told me at the show was, when we're out of parts, we're out of parts, and that's it. So it's kind of like, all right, got to get on Gunbroker to find this thing, or find it at a gun show. And I guarantee, if I find it at a gun show, it's going to be pretty expensive, because they're going to go, yeah, you can't get this no more. Yeah,
$4,000.
They know the value.
$4,000. Israeli FAL Warhammer heavy barrel DS arms.
Yep.
Gee.
Should have bought it back then. I didn't.
I tried to convince you a couple of years ago when we talked about this topic, but it's your money, man. It's your money.
I had a friend who had a real British FAL semi-automatic, and he had I want to say like 7 or 8 mags for it, and he wanted to sell it, and at the time he was willing to sell it for like $800.
Wow!
And he sold it. This was years ago. This is probably 15 years ago, and he sold it to somebody, and then he told me about it a couple weeks later. I'm like, why didn't you say something to me?
Son of a gun, you.
Yeah, he's oh, you like those? I'm like, oh,
can I choke you now?
And so I'm like, tell me you still have the high power. He goes, yeah, I still have the high power. I go, well, don't sell that to some stranger. Sell it to me. He never sold me the high power.
Squib, my father did the same thing with a 1903 A1. The son of a gun was in damn good shape, and he turns around. I shot it a few times. I told him right to his face, I said, Dad, look, if you ever sell this thing, give me first dibs. Month later, I was going to take it out and put a few rounds through it. Oh, I sold it. I could have choked him.
Yeah, that sort of thing happens. Yeah, that sort of thing happens, and and something like that is definitely a collector's piece.
Yeah.
Tommy Gunn says, I love my FAL. Canada had Wood also C2 squad automatics. That was his battle rifle that he used in the military. Gunmetal Guy USA, I don't want to think of all the purchases I should have made at ANRAM 2019. I went also with friends. Shoulda, woulda, coulda. Kevin June, that's a great option. Got me thinking about needing one in my collection.
There's one that you haven't mentioned, I don't think anyway. But Brownells is making an AR-10.
Okay. So we have another option too. We can head over there in a little bit and see what they have to offer. So, Patriot in the Dark says, never heard of a FAL rifle. That's for Squid.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, the FAL rifle would be those AR pattern Turkish 12-gauge shotguns that you can get. That's a FAL rifle right there, because you can use it on ducks and geese and so on. So, let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, I was going to look at the poll real quick. The poll has, it says, do you own a 308 Winchester / 7.62x51 battle rifle or pistol? Yes, 50%. No, 41%. And then no, but I'm interested in 9%. So there's a pretty decent number of you out there that have them. I think a lot more of us own them than what we realize. And they are, fairly popular for the most part. So let's see here. So Squib, what did you want to bring up for rifles real quick? What do you want me to bring up?
So at the top of my list for something chambered in 7.62x51 NATO is a BM59.
Never heard of that one, I guess.
This is an Italian surplus rifle from the 50s. It is an M1 Garand that takes box magazines. And it went into production. It's not a prototype or anything. It went into production, served with the military. It is a Milsurp rifle. Yes.
Now, are you thinking about the M1 Garand that was chambered in 308 tankers model?
That they made a prototype. It was T something or other or whatnot. But I'm not talking. This is an Italian rifle. This is made by Breda, not Beretta, Breda in Italy. In Italy, and it is an M1 Garand with a detachable box magazine. Literally, it's not something that's been like heavily modified or some sort of hybrid or something like that. This is a Milsurp rifle. Somebody might get it because they're like, I want an M1A, but this costs less money or something like that. But it is a Garand. I love Garands and I like Italian surplus. This is the pinnacle of battle rifles for my collection, even though, some of the stuff that's older, this wasn't in World War II or anything else like this, but this is something that I've been wanting for a long time, for decades. And it's not like they weren't out there. They just weren't out there in large numbers. Now they've come into the country in large numbers, and the supply is going to dry up. The supply is going to dry up, and I'm going to end up buying this at a gun show for way too much money at some point because I just didn't move on it. Here I am saying,
it's my bucket list gun, dang it.
Yeah, finance it. And it's just like, maybe if somebody uses a Jedi mind trick on me, I'll finance one and just say, screw it. That's just one more monthly payment. But this is not for everybody. The price is kind of high. Getting replacement parts right now might not be an issue. At some point down the road, getting replacement parts could be somewhat of an issue because it's not 100% interchangeable with the Garand. This might not even be in somebody's wheelhouse. They might be going, I'd rather just get an AR-10 or something and that sort of thing. But if you're a milsurp collector, this kind of fits both roles. This is something you can take to the range or something like that, but it's also it's real foreign military surplus.
Okay. Yeah, they're cool. And man, at $13.50 when they were for sale, I hate to say it, but that was a really good deal.
Yeah.
And then Springfield's got the whole M1A series of whatever you want. They're a lot of fun to shoot. I will say that. Some people won't buy Springfield, and we'll leave that up to you.
If you don't want to
issues,
if you don't want to buy Springfield, go to Fulton Armory. They've been around for a long time. They're more expensive, but I've been wanting to get a gun from Fulton Armory for decades as well.
What do we want to look at? M1 carbine or what? Anything
you could look at an M14 M1A. You could look at a Garand. A Garand wouldn't be in 308, but yeah, Fulton Armory, you're going to pay a higher price, but it's not Springfield.
So we're looking at 3. You're going to pay $1,000 more than Springfield. Would you say that the build quality in this is going to be superior, or is it going to be the same?
That's just it. I think that they were rebuilding some of the old battle rifles and doing importation originally back in the day when I remember looking at this stuff in paper catalogs before the internet. So they've got a history with these type of guns, but I think at a certain point they realized, like so many other companies, that if we just make these things, we'll sell them like crazy. This is why I don't understand. I talk about this from time to time. Why somebody just doesn't start making Lugers? You're telling me you can't just copy one and make it with modern stuff and sell these things? They'd sell like crazy. I'd buy 2 of them, right? Unless they were like $3,000, in which case it's like I'll just buy an original. But and some of these things are pretty pricey. But the people that buy these sorts of things, they're willing to pay that price. So I haven't actually shot one of their guns. I can't speak of their quality, but these guys have been around for decades and they're selling guns. They must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So I kind of spec mine out a little bit. I went ahead and added it to my cart. So I was going to maybe see what, it's not letting me do it for some. There must be some options that I chose that it doesn't take. Those are beautiful though. They definitely look like that'd be, if I was going to get one now, again, just go this route. Holy crap.
Yep. Do you see why I don't have one of these battle rifles in my collection? Every one of them starts out over $1,000, and some of these prices are crazy high. The thing is, if I really wanted it that bad, I'd just go get it. I obviously don't want it that bad, but
I optioned mine out. It's
I'm gonna have something. I'm gonna have something in my collection at some point. Yeah, I really am. Yeah, it'll probably be an impulse buy.
Well, you'll find one for like $3, and you'd be like, hey, I've wanted one, so why not? And I was just going to head over to last one I was going to check out here was just going to be any AR-10s that we have over Brownells. I'm not sure exactly. I went under firearms. Oh, here we go. Okay, let's go semi-auto, and then we can go by caliber and just see if we can find their 308 options and see what they have to offer. They have 21. All right, so they've got Springfield, M&P 10. Oh, I forgot about the M&P 10s.
M&P 10, that's right. Mine too.
Wilson Combat, M1A SOCOM, AR-10 Ranger by Wilson Combat. So if Brownells is making their own, those may be on the way because I'm not seeing them right now, but I know that they do have their own lines of AR-15s.
Yep.
Okay, so yeah. Again, like I said, anywhere between $1,000 and $2,000 pretty much is going to be par for the course for what you're going to spend for a 308 battle rifle. So let's check the comments here real quick. It's been a while. Let's see here. Okay, G23 says, at Squiblood, you will never buy this rifle. The credit card is not an option.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Is that a dare?
I don't understand.
He's limited only by his credit line. So
yeah, the statement doesn't make any sense.
Tommy Gunn says, I have a Beretta M1 Garand rechambered to 7.62x51, $2,000 Canadian.
Yes,
so.
I would take something like that as well. That would be a little bit harder to find. I know that there are some prototypes made in America, military ones that the government experimented with. I'm sure they're in a museum or in some vault or warehouse or a private collection. But yeah, if it's a Garand, that's. But I got to tell you that FAL, whether I bought a surplus one or a new built one, even though it's significantly more than the BM59, it's right up there. I mean, the BM59 just noses ahead because it's got the milsurpy more. It's more milsurpy, if that's a word. And but if you're looking at the price, the FAL is so much more expensive. But those are the top two for me. And I mean, I've wanted these things since the 1980s. What is my problem?
I don't know. Other stuff just gets in the way, I guess. It's just not a priority for you, I guess.
You get distracted off of it.
G23 says you got to take Defense Dad to the range and fix that problem. He's never shot a 308. Defense Dad, we'll take care of that. We'll fix that problem.
No kidding.
We'll start off with the 380 and then we'll work our way up to 308. So, oh man, yeah. So again, hopefully we haven't missed anything important here, sir. All right. Well, guys, I think we'll go ahead and call it. We've been going for almost an hour and a half right now. We just kind of went through the gamut of the different battle rifle options that are out there. Like I said, if you get them, unless you get a new manufacturer rifle from, say, like PSA or Brownells, expect some tweaking and maybe some replacement parts and a little bit of tuning to kind of get it to run the way you want to, especially if it's from a parts kit that's been modified in any way, shape, or form. You can expect something to happen. But kind of go into it with that kind of mindset, especially when you're dropping a grand or two. You're expecting this thing to just run like clockwork, and it's not always like that. But they are awesome to own. And again, we always encourage you to pick these up and invest in them. You're not going to lose your money, that's for sure, especially after the prices we're seeing right now. So yeah, I think we'll go ahead and call it. So Squib, we'll let you give us your final plug, and then we'll go from there. Squib, what do you want to say? Might be looking for the mute button. All right, Single Shot, we'll come back to you. Anything you want to say before we go?
Well, take the youngsters out there to the range, get them involved. And,
absolutely. Just
start
from a safety perspective, a handling perspective, let them appreciate the power these tools have.
Teach them all the right ways.
Absolutely. And, yeah.
I have a high respect for an adult that will get their kids involved in something other than Xbox and cell phones. That's the problem why we have so many youngsters out here now that's got a weight problem because they're not doing anything. So get them out there. And that 308 of mine, even my Encore, I have no problems with it at all. I really like that DPMS Panther. That thing
was a good gun.
Very accurate.
Like I said, my Oracle was fine. It was one of the least expensive AR-15s I could buy, and this is pre-Sandy Hook times. And it ran fine. I mean, like I said, the finish wasn't the best on it, but I mean, the metallurgy was fine, and it always cycled, never gave me any grief at all. So
I just might put that thing of mine on a bench, do a video for Rumble, put that on the target there at 100 yards, and
do it, man. That'd be cool. It'd be a lot of fun.
So check out the Rumble channel, Daywolf, and Single Shot on YouTube, and take care. God bless. America moves by truck, people. Have a good one.
There we go. Gunmetal Guy USA says, thanks for the pep talk. I will accept the challenge and get a 2A nephew or bust. Peace. Another intervention, Gun Tony Pacifist says, my 7-year-old daughter's begging me to go to the range, mostly because her mother says no. So don't worry. Someday she'll get to go. Someday she'll definitely go. So
Daddy rules.
Sneak her out and take her or whatever. Just, Yep. Gunmetal Guy USA, get her there, brother. All right. Squib, are you back with us?
Yeah,
that's all good. Get a coffee refill.
Actually, that's what I was. Yeah.
There you go. Any final words of wisdom with regards to the whole battle rifle discussion we had today? Anything you want to say before we go?
No, not really. I mean, I'm not. This is another one where I'm not an aficionado. I mean, I've fired the caliber, but only on full auto, and it's pretty smooth on full auto. It kicks at first, but then it just straightens right out. But yeah, this is something where it's something I've wanted. Obviously, I've wanted it since I was a teenager. It's something I haven't gotten because I just the price for one thing, and just not really having a place to shoot long range or hunt with it or do something else. I'm not saying it's a bad idea for somebody else, and it's not a bad idea for me. It's just kind of low on the totem pole. I could think of probably 20 guns that I would want before I would get one of these, but at some point I will, and hopefully I get to a place where maybe I can use it for deer hunting, or I'm not saying you can't in Michigan. It's just I've only have one place where I could take this, and I've already got a deer with the Garand up there. So next is the AK. Next is the AK. But I got him, but he got away. We found his carcass in the swamp later.
Oh man.
So yeah. But I got him. Yeah, it's one of those bucket list guns for me. It's just low on the totem pole. It's low on the priority list or whatever you want to call it. Not because of anything negative about it. It's just,
if I can investment, the gun's $1,000. The
Yeah.
magazines can be $50 a pop. The ammunition's $10 for 20 rounds. It's not like a lot of people can just jump right into it, So,
if I could buy 5 handguns for the price of 1 rifle, let me think, right? So it's something like that. But
well, I mean, really, that's what it comes down to. Not to mention the sales tax and the delivery and the transfer fee if you can't buy locally. So, and then maybe the lack of replacement parts. So it's just like it really is an investment. Not to say it's a range toy, but is it necessarily your go-to-war weapon that you want by your side? It can be an expensive range toy for that matter. So
now I will say this though. You say replacement parts. I've actually been buying parts for years and years and years for one of these. I've got set me parts. I've got FAL parts. I've got M14 parts or M1A. I don't think I have anything for a BM59, so maybe that's what I'll do today is I'll order maybe a bayonet or something.
There's parts kits for sale on Gunbroker. If you want to get one, you just got to add your receiver. So there you go. I will say this one good thing about the C308 is that it blows my mind how cheap replacement parts are, especially on that website we had mentioned earlier where we get parts for C308s. You can get a buffer spring and a used stock for like $20, literally, or you can get a plastic trigger pack for $15. Or it's not like you're going to spend hundreds of dollars on parts to get this thing running. There's so many of them out there that replacement parts are there. Pins or screws or springs or charging handles. And like mine, I've got an aftermarket Picatinny. That's kind of like a quad rail. It's a 3-sided Picatinny rail on my C308. And that was just to make it easier for me to add a bipod and any other accessories I wanted to. It's heavy as heck. It's all metal. It doesn't make it any lighter. But it's not like, if you get into something like a C308, magazines are inexpensive. Once you get the gun, itself, then it's relatively inexpensive for replacement parts. So that's definitely one good thing. All right. So I think we'll go ahead and call it. Let's see who is joining us today on the YouTube side. Gunmetal Guy USA, gun-toting pacifist, Tommy Gun G23, Vanessa Kitty, Will P's out there also, Patriot in the Dark, Squibload out there and over here doing double duty today. Kevin Jung's out there also. Good to see you, Kevin. Mark Thomas joining in. Mountain View's watching today. Defense Dad's out there. I was kind of hoping Night Strike would have been here today because he, he's a huge C308 guy and a big battle rifle fan, but that's all right. We'll get him next week. X Adam 1's out there. Squib Lift. Patriot in the Dark. I hope I'm not missing anybody. Fluffy 10mm Jeep guy. Tacos and French fries. Rolling Trips out there. Watt 75. X Adam 1. William Trader. A lot of people watching today. I think it was a fun topic just to kind of run through, and it's always fun to window shop. I love window shopping for firearms, Mike's out there also. Tony York, Gizzard Gary. Guys, make sure you check out Gizzard Gary's channel and Kingpin too. So there you go. So this has been episode number 241, season 5 of the Caliber Corner. I want to thank everybody for watching. We will try to have another episode of Caliber Corner weekly edition on Thursday and another Saturday morning edition for you next week. We'll kind of keep things rolling. Otherwise, I think that's about it. So I want you guys to have fun. I want you to be safe. And as you know, we will talk to you soon. All right, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye, Alicia.
Bye, Alicia.